Okay, this is lesson 3, where we're analysing advertisements. Your learning objective today is to begin to analyse adverts, considering the messages that they communicate and how they are designed to target audiences. For a successful lesson today, there are 4 clear steps. The first of which is to make sure you have completed and submitted all of your tasks from lessons 1 and 2 on advertising. It's vital you get this done before you move on, because a lot of the key information and the key terminology from those lessons you can use in today's lesson to enhance your analysis. So you can take this opportunity to pause today's video, open your Google Classroom, and complete and submit all of those tasks if you haven't done so already. Okay, for today, your starter is to actually identify some advertising techniques, which is what we looked at last lesson in lesson 2. So what do you remember? What techniques are used by advertisers? This will take you about 5 minutes. Your learning today is actually analysing 2 print adverts. And obviously, throughout the lesson, if you feel that I'm going too quick, or if there's anything you need to refresh or go over, make sure you are pausing, repeating, and revising the video as you need. That should take about 10 minutes. Your main activity today is the advertising mise-en-scène worksheet, which is on your Google Classroom. Now, for a quality piece of work, I would suggest you spend about 30 or so minutes to get that finished and submitted. So that's what your lesson looks like today. It gives you plenty of time to also make some notes and add anything you need throughout the learning. At the bottom here are your key progress indicators that we discussed in lesson 1. Feel free to pause the video if you need to refresh your memory on those. Okay, and this is today's learning toolkit. So there's lots of information we've already covered that you can use to apply to your analysis today. In the past, we've done lots of analysis of film marketing, so posters and trailers and so on. A lot of that information and a lot of those skills you can use in today's lesson. I want to remind you that in lessons 1 and 2 on advertising, we've already covered some of the key topics and key words that you can use. So you might want to look back and refresh your memory. Likewise, from terms 1, you need to actually consider the mise-en-scène of an advert and camera shots and angles. So if you need to refresh yourself on any of the key language from those lessons, again, you can pause the video, you can go back and you can explore your Google Classroom and all of the areas we've covered. Likewise, there's a wider reading activity that I set a few weeks ago on the ASA. You will need this for today's lesson. So again, if you haven't completed that, take an opportunity at some point today to get that submitted so that you're aware of the ASA and everything it does. Right, I'm going to begin with a very quick little test of your memory. As I've mentioned, we'll be looking at mise-en-scène and we're going to be applying it to adverts. So you have to remember, what is mise-en-scène? Well, the translation literally is everything in the scene. And if you remember, we used CLAMPS to help us remember everything in the scene. CLAMPS. But what does CLAMPS stand for? I would like you to take this opportunity to pause the video and to think to yourself, what do each of these areas mean? Can you remember? Off you go. Okay, I am hoping you paused your video there. Now, I'm not actually going to give you the answer, guys, because as I just mentioned, you have got the answers, okay, all here on your Google Classroom. So if you can't remember, that's your responsibility to go back and refresh your memory. Right, let's move on. So for today's lesson to be successful, again, you need to make sure you are using a pen and paper. On that pen and paper, there's a specific structure I want you to follow. So can you make sure you have the title, which is lesson 3, analysing adverts. You have space for your starter, okay, and 3 points for your starter. Also, I'd like you to make some lesson notes, and there are 2 subheadings. One is celebrity endorsement, and the other is the ASA. So you need to grab a pen and paper now. You need to copy this piece of paper in front of you, all those elements for today's lesson. Please pause the video and get that done. Right, I'm hoping you have a piece of paper that looks exactly like this in front of you, because we are now going to begin the lesson. So your starter, first of all, in front of you are 3 videos, 3 advertisements, all of which are audio-visual, which is what we discussed in last lesson. In fact, we considered some different advertising techniques last lesson. There were 5 in total. Now, if you can't remember what those were, you're going to have to look back and refresh your memory, because your first task is to watch each of the video and simply on your starter sheet, write down number 1 for the Snickers advert, which advertising technique is being used. Then the same for number 2, the iPhone 12 advert, and for number 3, the Primary Stars Premier League advert. Which technique is being used? As a stretch, there are some think questions, so while you're watching, can you consider these questions? You don't need to write anything down, but it will help you in your final analysis today. I also want to point out, guys, that I've copied the actual link to the videos here, just in case anything isn't working, embedded on the slides. So you could always copy that link, try it in a different browser, or even a mobile device if you have permission, to make sure you can access your learning. So can you pause my video now, make sure you have the Google Slides open in front of you, watch each of those videos and write down which technique for which. Okay, well done guys. I'm hoping you've completed your starter activity and you have recognized the 3 techniques being used. I won't give you the answers until next lesson, so make sure you've got something written down. Right, for today, as I said, there are some key words that we need to consider, including celebrity endorsement. So this should be on your piece of paper in front of you, this key word. Like I say, make any notes that you like now so that you can use them in your analysis at the end of the lesson. But we need to consider what celebrity endorsement actually is. Well, if you look at the 2 adverts to the right, we have one with Beyonce and one with the actor Leonardo DiCaprio. And just by looking at those, I hope you can imagine what celebrity endorsement involves. Simply put, it is where you associate a product with a well-known person. Okay, so these celebrities are endorsing. They are promoting these products. In fact, they are saying that these products are good enough that these celebrities, these successful people, are happy to put their name to it and use them themselves. In fact, by purchasing this product, we are led to believe that we might even attain some of the characteristics of this celebrity or these celebrities. So for example, Beyonce, who is promoting Pepsi, well, she is famous across the world for being a strong, powerful, successful, independent woman. And the suggestion here is that perhaps we as an audience might be able to attain some of that power or independence or success if we buy and drink Pepsi. Explicitly, it says get on your dancing shoes. So maybe we're even going to be able to be as skilled a dancer as Beyonce if we were to drink Pepsi. Similarly, we have Leonardo DiCaprio, the actor at the bottom here, and he's promoting this watch. He's endorsing this watch. And if you look at him, he looks quite suave and sophisticated and successful. And the idea is that if we buy this watch, perhaps we too will be suave, sophisticated and successful. And this is celebrity endorsement. I think 3 key words might sort of help you remember this, which is trust, admire and image. If you see a celebrity that you trust, that maybe you follow on social media, an influencer, someone you enjoy, then you have an element of identification with them. You might sort of, you might feel like they're part of your world somehow. So you might trust the products that they use and that they endorse. Likewise, if you admire them or you aspire to be like them, you might be more inclined to buy the products they endorse. And as I said before, the image that is created in these adverts is something that we feel is more attainable if it is promoted by these recognizable faces. As another example, this is David Beckham endorsing H&M. Now, if you don't know, David Beckham is a successful British football star, and he's also a global icon. Okay, this man has got millions of fans across the world. Now, early on in his career, both on and off the pitch, he has been associated with style and fashion. So, by endorsing H&M, by association, all of those millions of fans across the world might think that H&M too is to do with style and fashion. Okay, and if you want to look and dress the way David Beckham looks and dresses, then you will be more inclined to go and shop at H&M. H&M is a high street store, they're affordable and mainstream, and David Beckham's star image appeals to both men and women. Now this broadens and widens the target audience as he has achieved success professionally and in his personal life, which suggests that if we buy and shop in H&M, then we too are going to have a little bit more success and professionalism in our life. Now, David Beckham earns about £100,000 a day from his endorsements and from his own brand products. But what exactly does H&M get out of this? Well, as I mentioned, they get his fan base. All of those people, or even a percentage of the people who enjoy David Beckham, might be more inclined to shop at H&M. And it is proven that when you use celebrity endorsement, your stocks and shares and the general profits in your store or for your product do increase. So it's hugely beneficial for manufacturers to use endorsement. This makes David Beckham a commodity. He is something that can be sold. And in fact, he has endorsed lots of different products. He has endorsed perfumes, Adidas, watches, colognes, all sorts of different things. And this famous face, all the attributes of David Beckham are being represented in these adverts. And they make it aspirational for an audience. Okay, so I'm hoping you've made some notes there on celebrity endorsement. If there's anything you weren't sure of, anything you'd like to refresh, you can obviously pause the video and repeat, or you could even engage with some independent research online. You can look at some other celebrities who've endorsed products, maybe some famous faces you're more familiar with, or of course you can ask me during the lesson. Okay, and that brings us to our main task, where we are analysing the print advertisements. Right, I said on your piece of paper you should leave a subheading for the ASA. Now, the ASA is something else we're going to be using today to analyse our adverts. We used this in a wider reading activity from a few weeks ago, where I asked you to look at the website and find out the role of the ASA. So I'm hoping you remember that they are the Advertising Standards Authority. And these are the people who regulate adverts. They basically tell us what can and can't be in an advert, making sure that adverts are appropriate, that there's no use of violent imagery or bad language or anything inappropriate. And they also tell us when and where we can find adverts. So, for example, for young people like yourselves, certain adverts won't be available to you at certain times of day. For example, promoting gambling or alcohol or things that are underage. Also, they tell us where these adverts are going to appear, so on certain billboards or websites or magazines or whatever it might be. So why am I talking about the ASA? Well, one of the two adverts that you are analysing today is quite a shocking advert. If you remember, in last lesson we looked at the advertising techniques, and one of the techniques was shock, okay? And these shock tactics are there to elicit an emotional response from audiences. So, bear that in mind. Any of you who have a nervous disposition, the advert is for the NHS anti-smoking campaign from 2018. And like I say, it's not the nicest image. So brace yourselves, I'm about to show it you. There we go. Now, like I say, it's not very nice. But we are analysing this today. So why am I showing you it? Well, the ASA did actually agree that this advert was appropriate for all ages, and it was nationally distributed. That means it could appear anywhere. You could see it on a billboard, you could see it in a shop window, or on the internet, or in a magazine, or any number of different places, on your social media, whatever. So why have the ASA allowed everyone to see such a shocking image? Well, that is part of your analysis today, to consider why we are being shown something so shocking. You're going to compare this advert to a very different advert for Nike trainers, okay? And these are the two adverts we're analysing today. Now, I'm going to say, guys, if you are confident that you know what you're doing and you're happy to just, really give this a go, really stretch yourselves, then you can actually pause this video now and complete your task on Google Classroom. As you can see, I've actually uploaded this worksheet with the two adverts included, and you've got your questions in the blue areas and a space to write below. I've even given you some top tips and some keywords to support your responses. So if you'd like to, you can actually do that now if you're confident, and you can stretch yourselves. I've even added a little stretch activity on that worksheet looking at stereotypes from last term. However, if you'd like a little bit more support, then you can continue watching this video, and I'm going to go through an example with you that you can use to then answer these questions on your worksheet. Okay, so as I said, I am going to go through an example for you, which is this L'Oreal Paris advert looking at some hair products, right? So when you're studying your adverts today, there are going to be 4 questions for each, and you need to consider, first of all, what persuasive technique is being used. Well, in this advert, we can infer that they are using demonstration. They are demonstrating what the product actually achieves. In this case, we have a hair product and we have an image of some really nice looking hair. Okay, so they are demonstrating what we think this product will do. So what is the purpose of the advert? Well, obviously to demonstrate, but also to sell us something. We are being sold this product. The idea is that next time the audience goes shopping, they are going to pick up this brand over a competitive brand. So why have they used Jennifer Lopez? Well, Jennifer Lopez is our keyword of the day. She is a famous pop star and actress, so she is a celebrity endorsing this product. Celebrity endorsement has been used here because Jennifer Lopez has a huge fan base, which might be more inclined to buy from L'Oreal in the future now that she's endorsing the product. And also, as I mentioned, she has that aspirational appeal. So we might aspire to have hair like her. She also has that sort of trust and image that people will associate with the brand L'Oreal. So how are they trying to persuade the consumer to buy the product? Well, I'd say that is from the aesthetics, the mise en scène. It's a pleasant looking advert. There are nice autumnal colours of orange, yellow, reds, and even what look like autumn leaves. And that is anchored to the colour of the actual product and even the colour of Jennifer Lopez's hair. Alongside that, we have Jennifer Lopez directly addressing the audience. She's looking at us, making eye contact, which is in an enticing sort of way of appealing to the audience. You know, this is a very nice general looking advert. So with that in mind, guys, I've only done a little bit for this advert. You're going to use the similar techniques on your Google Classroom. The keywords that I've highlighted here are all defined from lesson 1. If you've completed that task, just as a top tip, you can go back and check. And as I mentioned before, you need to complete both of these on your Google Classroom today. And there's even a very simple stretch activity to refresh your memory on stereotypes. And you can complete that if you want to push yourselves. Okay? So take this opportunity to open up your Google Classroom work. Let me know if you have any questions and have fun.